All right. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Davonne Reaves, the Queen of Hotels. Thank you so much for tuning in to my 5th and 28th show, where I come to you on the 5th and 28th of each month. And I'm really excited about this guest. I really am, because I have Brian Quinn, the Chief Development Officer of My Place Hotel. So Brian, you have to let everybody know. Say hello. Tell them who you are.
I am so excited. After an introduction like that, how can I not be excited to visit with you all for a little bit? But we're just wrapping up LendingCon here in Orlando, and really try to bring owners and operators and financiers together and share different best practices and ideas, and welcome more people into the industry and welcome more people into the development side of the business. So excited to chat with you this afternoon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I actually met with Lindsay, the Director of Development, and she gave me gave us a lot of information about, My Place and the competitors. And I talked to her about Atlanta, because I'm based out of Atlanta, and I haven't seen the rooms yet. I saw the lobby, so I get to see them. I got to get a tour. Okay. Now, since I'm with the big boss, y'all hear this? I need a tour.
We'll get her a tour, promise.
But so as far as My Place, it's a fairly new brand. Lindsay, she already talked to us about the history of it, how the founder founded Super 8, and then he saw a need for the extended stay market.
Right.
And I just found out that My Place is more of an elevated extended stay property, right?
Yeah, it was really a unique situation for the Rivet family, and for the business and the arc of the history. But I've launched a couple of brands, and they really had something special happen.
Okay.
That's only happened a couple of times in the industry, where they came to market and really thought it was going to be sort of economy and mid-scale.
Yeah.
And as soon as the guest started to experience it,
Yeah.
the guest drove it from mid to mid-scale and upper mid. Yeah, that they were really firing on the finishes and the way the breakfast programming worked in the room, and the sitting area, and the locations.
The beds too.
The beds are incredible. Have you heard about the beds?
I think
I thought she was stealing my thunder. The beds are incredible. And I've been in the hotel business my entire professional career, and even when I was out in Aberdeen, going through the process of thinking about joining, I couldn't believe how nice the beds are. They're incredible. They have a curated special bed just for My Place.
Wow, because you don't think of that for extended stay.
But the people nest in an extended stay hotel. They turn it into their home. So a bed's always important in a hotel. Right. Like cleanliness in the bathroom. There's a few of those table stakes things. Yeah. But in an extended stay hotel, it's even more important. But yeah, the one thing that I would think about of the different ways we've talked about expanding, lodging, and specifically the development of real estate and finance side to more people, and bring new communities into development. Yeah. One thing that's really unique about My Place is that I'm also the Chief Development Officer for Rivet, which is the parent company. And we also own a management company and a construction company. So
you're vertically integrated.
And what's unique about that is not many of our competitors do that in any of the segments, in any of the spaces. A lot of the larger brands have moved into a bit of an asset light strategy and more of a fee arrangement. And for a new entrant into development, having a brand that also has those other expertise adjacent, and also in the common ownership, is really powerful, because we can help you with site selection, we can help you with your construction budget, and then we can run it if it's a pure real estate investment for somebody, or if you were pooling a group of people together, but didn't necessarily want to have to stand up a construction operation and a management operation or a commercial engine. As you said, we have the vertical where we could help an investor like that as well.
That makes it easy, especially for first-time developers, or even experienced developers, right? They're like, you already have it, the product.
For first-timers, absolutely.
Right.
And then for more mature developers, some folks have really started to exit some of the management business, and construction is changing, almost every week.
Absolutely,
whether it's the dynamic with Iran or tariffs or whatever, pricing and construction is incredible. And just being able to get the budgets right and staying inside the lines and sharing the best practices. And now there's incredible pressure on the trades folks because of the data centers as well. So keeping the trades folks busy and having projects move through the pipeline are important because the data centers need drywall people, and they need electricians, and they need plumbers, and they need concrete people, and all of that. So keeping them busy in our space is critical.
So now from a financing standpoint, right? I mean, we got to talk about money, and we're at lending kind of like we have to talk about money. So how does that work from a financing standpoint, you know, helping securing the financing by working with My Place?
Yeah, you know, it's funny when you get exposed to all the different real estate verticals, hospitality, restaurants everyone's interested in them. They're sexy, they're fun. It's a people business. It's
the money.
And also just way more dynamic than an office building or multifamily, and it attracts a lot of folks. I think as an industry, we continue to try and find a way to take some of those fragmented pieces and put them together, because it is hard to find your entry point and solve all of the elements that need to be solved there. In this, you know, sort of franchisor model that's now matured, you know, over the last 30, 40 years, the franchisee really has the obligation around the financing, and the franchisor really has the obligation around, you know, maintaining the commercial engine, maintaining the brand, and that tension has worked because both sides have responsibilities and expertise. But I do see more and more, to the point you were making earlier, that if we're going to expand the pool of franchisees and prospective franchisees, taking some of those fractured pieces and tying them together will increase the chance of getting a project done, and also pulling in, you know, somebody new into the enterprise or aggregating new capital into the enterprise. Financing, though, because the franchisee owns the business, really is on that side of the ledger. Not that we can't make introductions, and where I think we're able to help is that right now, extended stay is considered a pretty good bet. It's one of the lowest risk investments in the hospitality space because of the low amount of defaults, and the consumer wants it right now, right? So you've got sort of all these positive things lining up. So we don't really hear of too many deals not happening because of financing. What we hear around the financing piece is, you know, it's more expensive than it used to be, and the due diligence and the rigor around getting approved is gone up because nobody wants to make a mistake. And that's actually, it's hurtful and it's helpful. Where it's helpful is we're not doing bad deals in a macro basis. Where it's a little bit of a challenge is, you know, the due diligence process is tough, and you have to have your proverbial act together in order to get through it. And that's where I think, you know, the brand can help. And the third piece I'll say is if you hired the entire vertical, then you're going in and saying, okay, I've got my equity, but I've also got my operator, I've got my construction team, and I've got my brand. That lands pretty well with a lender. And then, you know, all of us are trying to do a better job of casting a wider net and bringing new people into the business. Well, the lenders have that remit as well. So having, you know, women-owned or African-American owned business, that's a goal for everybody. So you get a lot of people on the team very quickly. I'm working on a project right now with somebody that's a veteran and was also hurt during their service, and that fires on some things that different lenders and equity and communities care about as well. And that's been fun to go through that process.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
It's a government bid project, so he's playing in sandbox he knows, but he's also playing the cards that he can, that helps distinguish him.
So what do you see as far as the future of the extended stay sector?
You know, I think I said this earlier today. I think we're in the first third of the baseball game as it relates to extended stay. The numbers that have been coming out this year are truly incredible. Occupancy is up, ADR is up, revenue is up, RevPAR is up, supply is up, demand is up, and the supply is coming on, but it's not keeping up with demand, and that's the best environment in which to be in. I think really what we need to do is get more consumers to try an extended stay product, because when they try it, they like it. Having the extra space in the room, having the kitchen amenity in the room. You know, let's be honest, a traditional hotel room, you're traveling with somebody, it's a little awkward to invite them over and you want to have a conversation. You want to sit on the bed and watch the game? Well, that's weird. You know, having that little sitting area really.
I mean, you're being honest.
That little extra space where you can have someone come over for a drink or an interview or a cup of coffee or watch the game really allows people to have a different experience.
And it's good for families.
Oh, for sure. And then and the sports teams and everything, the weekend stuff. But people want to behave the way they want to behave on the road, and having those kitchen amenities are absolutely critical.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about, we talked about the industry just a little bit. Now let's talk about and we talked a little bit about financing, so we're going to take it back to money. Let's talk about the cost. So if I'm a developer and I want to develop a My Place, what is the...
Yeah, we've got 3 prototypes in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. When you go to 4 stories, that changes a little bit of the cost. I would say the majority of our projects in using those 3 key counts, we're between about 9 million and about 12 million. That's where they come up with.
And that's for any particular, that's for the first, you said that was the prototype one?
No, yeah, those 3 prototypes will fall in that channel.
Got you. Okay.
Land cost and the number of rooms, there's some nuances there, but that's a really good target. Prior to the lending underwriting becoming so strict, you needed to come up with about 20% of that.
Right.
Now you need to come up with about 25 or 30% of that.
Right.
But one lesson from the Rivet family, and I think back to how Ron got all of his friends into the business. What I tell aspiring entrepreneurs is aggregate your money, right?
Right.
Everybody might, it's hard to get $3 or $4 million together, but if you can get $300,000 or $400,000 together and do it across 10 people,
there you go.
It's a different,
right.
You're still in the business, you're still getting the returns, you're still learning, you're being exposed to a new industry, and that's sometimes an easier piece to bite off, to start. Or maybe you have to get 20 people, right, to do it. But that way you're learning it, and the extended stay space provides returns in real time pretty quickly too, for the most part. So it's one of the safer places to start as an entry point.
Oh my goodness, this has been amazing, and I've learned so much about My Place, and I keep hearing about these beds. So I may just have to book a staycation.
We may have to have you come down to our conference, and you could be our model on the trade show floor.
I would love that. You know what? I'll put on the whole show. Yep. I love that. But thank you, Brian, so much for taking the time to
it's great to
tune in. And
now,
how can people contact folks on your team so that way they can get a My Place in their portfolio?
Yeah, just go to the My Place website and click on the development button, and the entire team is on there with all their emails and phone numbers.
Okay, wonderful. Well, my name is Davonne Reaves. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I had my very special guest, Mr. Brian Quinn, Chief Development Officer of My Place Hotels, and I'll see you next time.